Hey, this is Adrian Quesada from Black Pumas, and you are listening to 89 FM, a Radio Rock.
Fala galera, beleza? Eu sou o Wendell Correia e hoje eu vou conversar com o Adrian Quesada, o guitarrista do Black Pumas, que está preparando aí o segundo álbum, vão lançar dia 27 de outubro, se chama Chronicles of a Diamond. Já lançaram duas músicas, More Than a Love Song, e nessa terça-feira, dia 26 de setembro, lançaram também a música Mrs. Postman. Vou trocar ideia com ele sobre esses dois singles, sobre o novo álbum, sobre a passagem no Brasil, no Lollapalooza Brasil em 2022 e muito mais. Tudo com exclusividade para 89, a Rádio Rock. So, Andrew, how are you, man? Where are you now?
I'm in Austin, Texas. I'm in my studio in Austin, East Austin.
How are things going for you?
Oh,
New
things
album
are good,
coming
man.
up.
Yeah. We have a new song coming out next week. Album coming out soon, and it's feeling exciting. We haven't really put out new music in a long time, and we worked on the album so much that it's a little bit surreal to think that it's about to come out finally. So
And how was the process of writing and recording this album? All the songs were written after the first album, but there's some old songs that you start working on.
most of it was written after the first album. There is a couple of songs, maybe just one or two of Eric's that were older songs that he had that we wrote and we recorded for this album. But there's a song called Angel on there that I believe he had written a long time ago, but most of the music is brand new music.
And is there 3 years recording and writing this album?
Yeah, not nonstop. It was on and off because we were on tour so much, but we immediately when we finished the first album, we started recording the second one. So it was um you know music we've been working on for a long time. But then we went on tour. We were on tour so long that it was hard to focus on the album. We would record sometimes at studios on tour. We went to a studio in San Francisco and in Amsterdam and various parts of the world like that. Whenever we had a day off, we would go into the studio and um record a little bit there, and so it was recorded all over the world, all over the place. But then just in the last year, from January this year to about May, we brought it all back to Austin, most of it into my studio and another friend's studio, and really put it all together to make it sound like one album.
Any inspiration from when you were in Brazil?
Oh yeah, absolutely, man. We definitely both are big fans of Brazilian music, and I know that have some of our biggest fan base down there, so you know definitely taking inspiration from there too.
How was for you being in Brazil playing with Black Pumas? What do you remember from that day, that time?
I remember it being one of the best shows we've ever played. It was in Lollapalooza, but I also remember that our flight was delayed and we were late to get to there, so we were tired. We were really exhausted. I can't remember how it happened, but I think some flight got canceled or delayed. We were supposed to fly in the day before. We ended up flying in just a few hours before we played, and then we had to fly out immediately after we played. So it was like I remember being very tired and very exhausted, but once we got there and felt the love and the energy of the people of Brazil, it was all worth it.
Yeah, the best show of Lollapalooza last year, in my opinion, was great.
Thank you.
And talking about the new album, the first single, More Than a Love Song. Why did you decide to be the opening track of the album, the first single?
Um, as far as being the first single, I think a lot of that was our record label kind of suggesting that was the first single. That's a song that we've played live on tour already, so we kind of already knew that people react to that song and people would ask about it a lot and ask if it was recorded. And I think it's a good introduction to the new music because it still sounds like us. It still sounds like Black Pumas, but there's a lot of it hints at a lot of new things to come on this album. So I think that was a good introductory song. As far as it starting the album, we had a few different ideas for what order to put the songs in, but that one just kind of starts. It's like it has many movements to it, and it builds and builds and builds to something. So it felt like a good song to start the album with.
Were all the lyrics on the album written by Eric?
Yes, I don't write any lyrics. That's all Eric.
Because he mentioned that it's a More Than Love Song, a message he borrowed from his uncle. Where do I find his uncle songwriters, his song? Do you know? Does he have
No,
any
I don't. I don't
bands?
know that. I don't know that his uncle has released music or recorded music, but he was a big inspiration for him when he was growing up. And one time he said that his uncle told him that life is more than a love song, and that was something that I think helped Eric, kind of write from there and take that idea from there.
What are your opinion about that message? More
I
life is
love
more
it.
than a love song.
I love it. It's perfect. Yeah.
And the second single is coming up next Tuesday, Mrs. Postman. I was
right,
working on this song. What means this song for you?
This song is an interesting one because it's the first one that we've collaborated with somebody besides myself and Eric. So Jerron Marshall, who's our keyboard player for Black Pumas, helped write the music and co-produce this song as well. So it's a different. Eric and I were just talking last week about this. It's a different kind of melody and chord progression that either one of us would have come up with, because I think Jerron has a different approach to writing music. But I think that was a really good thing for us because it brought out a new idea, from Eric and from myself, to something that would sound like not something like the first album. And we've also played that song live as well, and a lot of people would always ask when we were going to record it. So we knew that people were reacting to that song too.
Yeah, and you and Eric are the two heads of Black Pumas, but in my opinion, piano, drums, and bass, especially the piano, is really important on your songs.
Yeah, absolutely.
You work that on the studio all together?
Yeah, this album was done, like I said, so many different ways. It wasn't, the first album was done all in the studio, all live, most of it. But this one was kind of, like I said, recorded here, recorded there. So it wasn't all of us in the room for all of it, but a lot of it was. And having musicians like Jerron in our band, we always know that whatever idea we have or idea he brings to the table is going to help elevate all of it.
And when I first heard the song, Mrs. Postman, I thought it was related to Please, Mr. Postman, a very known song, but it's not related, right?
Not related, but I think he likes to reference a lot of popular culture like that, and I think he referenced that song a little bit. It's not in the lyrics or anything like that, but I do think the title he got from that. Yeah.
There's a song called Chronicles of a Diamond. What means this song, and why did you decide to name the album after that song?
When Eric was coming up with titles for the songs, we were originally going to call the album Black Pumas 2, like Volume 2. That was it. That was going to be the title. But I remember him sending me the song titles, and when I saw that one, I told him I thought it sounded like a cool, we've been through so much in the last few years together that I think Chronicles, like these stories or tales of everything that we've done in the last few years, is where I thought Chronicles would sound like a good, it's almost like a book of everything that we've experienced. So I thought it would be better to have an actual title for the album than just being Black Pumas 2. It kind of tells a little bit more. And as far as the lyrics in that song, I don't really know enough about what he was saying in the song, but I just thought the title sounded like a good album title.
Okay, so that's funny because Rolling Stones are going to release Heineken Diamonds 1 week before you guys are going to release Chronicles of a Diamond.
Oh man, okay.
You have played with them. What did you learn playing with the Rolling Stones?
It was amazing to see, how consistent they are at putting on a show. And the one thing that I remember really stood out to me was, we tour a lot, and sometimes the schedule, the touring schedule is kind of hard. And just when you start to feel tired and like you don't want to do a sound check and you don't want to, this and that, those guys are 80 years old and they were still sound checking by them. They don't have to sound check. They can hire a crew that just checks all their instruments for them, but they were sound checking for almost 2 hours at their show. And it was really inspiring to see that love of music. And as soon as we start to get tired and not want to do this or that, to think if the Rolling Stones are doing it, we can do it, So it was really inspiring to see them have that much passion and love for the music and for the show for other people,
And can we expect Brazil on this new tour?
Yeah, absolutely. We're talking about going down there next year for sure.
Thank you so much. Really nice talk with you. Hope to meet you personally in Brazil next time.
Hopefully, man.
89, a Rádio Rock.